Feeling overwhelmed by the challenges of being a single parent? You are not alone. Welcome to Single Parent Reset, the podcast that helps you navigate the ups and downs of single parenthood and find the balance that you deserve. Whether you're a single parent, co-parent or solo parent, this is the show for you. I'm Orla and I'm a life coach for single parents and a single parent myself. I know how hard it can be, but I believe every single parent has the strength to create a life that they are proud of. For more information about me and the work that I do, please visit my website solascoaching.com. That is SOLAS coaching.com. In each episode of this podcast, we'll be shining a light on the unique struggles single parents face and cover the aspects of being a single parent that are often overlooked and left unspoken. I'll be sharing actionable steps to help you overcome these challenges and find more calm and fulfillment in your life. Single Parent Reset is your weekly opportunity to gain a fresh perspective, take back control, and feel more in charge of your journey. When it comes to your finances, do you find that your head is in the sand? Are you letting your financial situation define you? Or perhaps you have a feeling of guilt and shame around your financial situation? Today, we're diving into how you can shift your money mindset to feel more in control, confident, and empowered with your finances. Money is one of the biggest challenges single parents face. Living on one income can feel like a constant balancing act, trying to cover essentials, plan for the future, and then still enjoy life without feeling stretched too thin. Social situations can add extra pressure too, whether it's keeping up with friends who have more financial flexibility or wanting to provide special experiences for your child without overextending yourself. It's easy to fall into the patterns of guilt or shame around money. Questioning whether you're doing enough or feeling bad about spending on yourself also. Money touches every part of life, from daily decisions to long-term goals. And as a single parent, it can sometimes feel like you're navigating it all alone. It can be too easy to feel held back by and defined by our financial situation. But understanding your relationship with money and recognizing the patterns that shape your financial decisions can bring a sense of clarity and control. This is so important because it's not just about numbers, it's about confidence, choices, and creating a life that aligns with your values. It's a topic that many people shy away from even talking about, but today we're going to uncover your true thoughts and feelings around your finances and find a way for you to move forward feeling more in control about your financial situation. We're going to look into understanding your money story and delving into your past experiences and beliefs about money to understand how they shape your current financial behaviours. We will look at your spending patterns and explore your spending habits, identifying triggers and areas for improvement. And we will also look at shifting your focus and learning to focus on what you do have rather than what you don't. One morning last year, me and my son were having breakfast before heading out for the day. And when I went to make my morning cup of coffee, I realised that I was out of coffee beans. Now, I really enjoy my coffee. I have 2 cups of coffee a day, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. And to say that I revolve my day around it is no understatement. This time is sacred for me. I sit and I savour every sip of that coffee. And what I had normally been doing was buying coffee beans at coffee shops while I was out and about. So this morning was no different. My coffee beans were out. I was going to buy some at the new coffee shop that had opened up beside my local tube station. Me and my son walked into the coffee shop and that lovely smell of coffee hit me. I ordered some coffee beans and also a coffee for myself to take away. And to my horror, when it came to me to pay, it was £20. Yes, £20. I could not believe I had just spent £20 on coffee. I then realised that I've actually been doing this regularly for months now, and it was only the tipping point over to £20 that made me stop and think. When I looked back, I know that each time I was going into coffee shops, buying my coffee beans, I'd be lured by what was by the counter and get myself a little pick-me-up treat along the way, spending even more money. And there was a voice in my head saying, treat yourself, you deserve this decadence. And I was telling myself that it was self-care. Now, sitting and having a coffee is in fact a form of self-care to me, but buying expensive beans and being lured by the treats at the counter is not. So I quickly switched up my spending habits and signed up to a cheaper coffee subscription service so that I can have my nice coffee in the comfort of my own home for half the price. By stopping to pause and reflect on the thoughts behind this spending pattern, I could readjust my behaviours so they were more aligned with my financial goals. And I was left not in denial about how much coffee I was spending and how I'd let this habit get out of control. Of course, there are days where I will still splurge and have a coffee out, but now they are so much more meaningful and appreciated now that I am intentional about this splurge. So let's now look at how you can start to break down your spending habits and understand what money mindsets may be driving your behaviours. Before I get started on delving into this topic, I just want to caveat this with, I am not a financial advisor, and if you need professional advice for complex financial situations, please seek it. So let's start with understanding your money story. Everyone's money story is different, and everyone's beliefs and values around money are different. Everyone holds different values, and when it comes to money, this is no different. You may think spending money on an expensive gym membership is crazy, but a person who holds self-care as a really high value may see this as a non-negotiable in their monthly outgoing. Meanwhile, for you, spending quality time with others and making memories is one of your biggest values, and therefore you are more than happy to put away money each month for that big holiday each year. And other people may look at this and find this lavish. Our beliefs around money and where we place our value on it are formed in childhood or our past experiences, and this can impact our behaviours today. So let's do some exploration around your money mindset. What messages about money did you grow up with? Were your parents savers or spenders? Did they openly discuss finances, or was money a taboo topic? Was there a sense of financial security, or was money a constant source of stress? By starting to recognise what were the behaviours and narratives you may have grown up with, you can start to understand your thoughts and behaviours around money that you now have today. So now ask yourself, how do you feel when you think about money? You may feel stressed. Signs that money brings up stress for you is avoiding looking at your bank balance, or it can even come up in physical sensations such as a tight feeling in your chest even thinking about it. Or it could be guilt that you feel. Guilt that you shouldn't spend money on yourself, regretting purchases and thinking that money could have been better spent elsewhere. Maybe it is shame that comes up for you. You find you can't help but compare yourself to others. You make sure to avoid any conversation about money and can't help but feeling like you are failing to provide for your family. These are all common feelings that can come up when we explore our thoughts around money, and know that you are not alone in feeling this way. Now that we've identified how you feel when you think about money, no matter how uncomfortable that feeling may be, it's time to challenge and reframe those thoughts. The good news is that your current mindset isn't fixed. You have the power to shift it towards a healthier, more empowering perspective. If stress was the biggest feeling that came up for you, let's start to reframe from stress to control. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by finances, remind yourself that small steps lead to big changes. Rather than avoiding your bank statements or budgeting, try to reframe your thoughts. You could say to yourself, I'm in control of my money, and I can take small steps to improve my situation. Or, knowing where I stand financially empowers me to make better decisions. If it's guilt that is a big factor when it comes to your spending, it's time to go from guilt to permission. If guilt is a big factor when it comes to your spending, it's time to go from guilt to permission. If you're feeling guilty about spending money on yourself, remind yourself that self-care is in fact a necessity, not a luxury. Taking care of yourself allows you to be the best parent you can be. Instead of saying, I don't deserve to spend on myself, try saying, investing in myself benefits my entire family. Learn to turn your shame around money to empowerment. Remember that everyone's financial journey is different. Comparing yourself to others only steals your confidence and prevents you from focusing on your own progress. I want you to remember these phrases and repeat them when you feel any sense of shame creeping in. My financial journey is unique, and I am making positive steps forward. I am not alone in this. I can seek help and support without judgment. Now that we've looked at where your money mindset may have come from and what thoughts and feelings come up for you and how you can reframe them, let's now move on to looking at patterns in your financial habits. One thing that can be really useful when it comes to understanding your mindset is getting to know your spending patterns. By taking a closer look, you can identify areas for improvement and make more intentional financial decisions. When was the last time you overspent and regretted it later? What were the events that led up to it? Can you think of other times this has also happened? It could be whenever you're tired after a stressful day at work, you splurge on an expensive dinner. Or to soothe yourself after a challenging conversation with your co-parents, you go all out and spend too much on an online shopping spree. An example for me was I started to realise that if I got good news, no matter how big or small, my go-to would be to celebrate by splurging on a takeaway or a meal out. I would link getting some good news as a cause to splash out and reward myself even further. Another example for me was I started to realise that the weekends when I was without my son, to make the feelings of missing my son go away, or also to quieten those feelings of loneliness, I would begin to treat myself throughout the weekend with mini treats here and there, using those mini hits of dopamine to keep any pangs of loneliness at bay. These triggers often don't even need to be emotional. They can be situational. A perfect example is the airport. I used to walk through that airport and spend like everything was free. This is not ideal as I frequently fly back and forth to Dublin from London while visiting my family. And as we know, airports are notoriously expensive. And it doesn't even need to be about overspending. Perhaps there are times where you find you've held back on your spending, only to realise later that you should have actually spent more and you regret having not parted with your money. And don't get me wrong, I still have some of these behaviours, but it's having the awareness of them and recognising they are a pattern means I stop and pause before spending and think, am I spending this money because I really need to, or am I playing out one of my money patterns? If you want to get clear on your money spending habits and figure out what patterns you may have that you never even realised, I suggest keeping a money diary and keep track of your spending for a week. Start by writing down, after any time you spend money, what it was you bought, how you felt before and after, was it a need or a want, and what could have been an alternative to spending that money. This may enlighten some interesting patterns that you did not know you were playing out, and by recognising them, you can start to make better money decisions with more clarity. Instead of feeling guilty about past spending habits, use this awareness as an opportunity to create positive financial habits that align with your goals and values. Moving on to shifting your focus on what you do actually have rather than what you don't. Because it can be so easy to focus on all of what we don't have when it comes to money instead of focusing on what we do have. Shift your focus to what's within your reach and make the most of that. This can be done in 3 simple steps. Step 1 is think about things that you'd love to do but may not be within your financial reach. Step 2, ask yourself, what is it about it that truly brings me joy? Step 3, get creative by asking yourself, how can you bring some of that joy into your life in a more budget-friendly way? So, for example, if you love a day out shopping for new clothes, it could bring you joy because you get a confidence boost from wearing something new that makes you feel great. A cheaper alternative to that can bring the same outcome is buying second-hand on apps like Vinted, or even organising a clothes swap with friends. You can still find something fresh and exciting that will give you that confidence boost without the price tag. By identifying what you truly would get from those experiences that are out of your financial reach, you can then recreate that feeling on a much smaller budget. This way, you'll minimise the sense of missing out while still enjoying the things you love. And my final tips to help you with feeling more in control of your finances. If you don't have one already, a budget is essential. Create one now. By tackling this head on and knowing exactly what you have coming in and going out each month can make you feel incredibly on top of things. There are many templates online that you can download for free to help you make a start in creating your own budget. And the next thing is, before you say yes to everything, plan ahead. Keep a diary of all the events you have coming up, and before you agree to things, quickly have a glance at the diary and make sure you don't accidentally agree to too many things in 1 month. It's better to say no now or to rearrange to a less busy time when you won't be as financially stretched than to regret overspending or having to cancel last minute later. On that point, when it comes to your financial situation, get comfortable with sharing with others what is realistically within your reach and what isn't. There is nothing worse than being a single parent trying to match the lives of your dual income household friends. Be open and honest with them about your financial situation and do not feel ashamed about it. You can also think about setting up an emergency fund so that you are not completely caught off guard by unexpected costs. As we have now learned, everyone's money story is different and their value on money will vary from person to person. So how much you have in this fund is completely up to you. What is important is that this fund gives you the breathing space to not feel stressed knowing that you have a small fallback fund. And if you are really struggling with your finances at the moment, please seek support from charities such as Gingerbread. They can offer amazing support to get you back on track with your money and signpost you to the services that can help you today. In today's episode, we took a deep dive into understanding your money mindset and how it shapes your financial decisions. We explored the messages about money that you've carried with you, the emotions that come up when you think about your finances, and how recognizing your spending patterns can empower you to make more intentional choices. Remember, your financial mindset isn't fixed. Small, conscious changes can help you shift towards a healthier, more empowering relationship with money. Take some time this week to track your spending and reflect on how you feel before and after each purchase. What patterns do you notice? I'd love for you to share your insights with me on Instagram. If you're interested in working with me one-to-one, please go to my website solaccoaching.com for further details. And don't forget to follow my Instagram page @solaccoaching for more insightful content on living a life to be proud of as a single parent. In next week's episode, we are going to be talking about how to start re-envisaging a new future for yourself and saying goodbye to those old couple goals you had with your ex that you may still be holding on to. Thank you so much for listening to this week's podcast of Single Parent Reset. You've taken 15 minutes out of your day to do something for you, and that alone is a step in the right direction towards living the life you deserve. If you found this episode useful, please share it with your friends. And also, if you can rate, review and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on, I would much appreciate it. Remember, many single parents may seem to have it all together, but this may be exactly what they need to hear today to help them get through this week. So do the kind thing and pass it on today.